I'm joined by University of Central Oklahoma linebacker Marlo Hughes Jr. Marlo, thank you for taking time this afternoon to come on and talk to me. Could you start by telling the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. I grew up in a military family. I don't really say I'm from anywhere. I've been around the world quite a bit, and really, I grew up mostly in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and Zanesville. Then I came here to Oklahoma when I was about 12 years old, and that's when I really started to get into football. And throughout high school, and then here I am to college now, and really just that's what my life has been about is football since day one.
So, growing up in a military family, what was that experience like? I guess having to move around so much.
You definitely are exposed to a lot of different cultures, different kinds of societies, where um, it's hard to explain. There's a lot of different, uh, say, like from here versus where we live in Germany. In Germany, there's a lot more different, languages to, be aware of, and there is more ways of life. And I don't know, it's just one of those, I guess social cues and stuff. It's a little hard to explain, but I don't know. It's just different. It's kind of one of those things that you have to experience for yourself.
So when you moved here, what was the adjustment period like coming from Ohio to Oklahoma?
Um, I definitely feel like people here in Oklahoma are a lot nicer. You don't go through Ohio and look over and somebody's walking past you and they say hello, how are you doing? But here in Oklahoma you do. So it's a lot more polite, and I like it. I like it much better that way.
So you get in it, you star at both running back and safety. Now I asked Dante this and I asked Lane this the other day. Do you like run for touchdowns more, or do you like stopping people from getting touchdowns more?
Um, that's something that I kind of had to decipher for a while. I love doing both of them. You know, um, I feel like I get a lot more excited whenever I snipe somebody, you know, down. But there's also a different feeling, be able to put some points on the board as well. But I feel like I've always been a defensive player at heart, so I like to say, stopping people from making touchdowns.
Okay, and as a running back, for those that either might not have known or not have seen you play running back, how would you describe yourself at that position?
As a running back, you know, my biggest thing that watching myself, back in the day, well, high school, well, I would say back in the day, but back in high school, uh, I want to try to get as many yards as I can, with every snap. And I remember my dad telling me, he like, son, you're going to get yourself hurt. Sometimes you got to learn when to go down. But I don't know. I just love getting yards, as much as I can, and expressing my speed and physicality with it.
And you also competed in powerlifting. Now, what for those who don't know, like what is kind of the I guess the training regimen like for a powerlifter?
Um, Really, it's just a lot of heavy lifting, and um, also really honing down on your technique, because once things do start getting heavy, you want to make sure that you have good technique so you don't hurt yourself. A lot of just the key lifts, bench, squat, power clean, and deadlift, and just a couple of complementary workouts to better those lifts. And powerlifting, it's just maintaining your strength. You just want to get as strong as fast as possible. So you can go out there and compete and put up really good numbers.
So what would be the hardest aspect to you of being a powerlifter?
Um, so I did it during the off season off of football. So I guess probably balancing the training with off season for football and the training for in season and powerlifting. So yeah, I was definitely a lot more sore during that time, but it was worth it.
and
So
and and how has that experience, or how did that experience help you on the football field?
It definitely made me more explosive. It helped me with strength. Um, and just another domain of let's see, competition. You want to really outlift everybody, and like in powerlifting, that's kind of the deal there, and to get there to the state and whatnot. But yeah, basically with powerlifting, I feel like it just really helped me be more explosive and be able to move people better.
And so after you, well, I think before that, you also played in the blue gray All-American Bowl. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience. I met some really really awesome recruits. Guys that were being recruited from what was it? A couple guys from OSU, a couple guys from Virginia Tech that they were being recruited by them. Let's see, Michigan State as well. And they were just always really great guys, and we got to go out there and play on the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and it was, I learned a lot too. It really bettered my technique, and that was right before I was going into college. So, it definitely was a help, coming into college and having a little bit better technique, so I can, stand out that much more.
And so you decide that you wanted to continue your college career at UCO. What was it about UCO during the recruiting process that you felt like was the right place for you?
So this was a conversation that I had with my family. They said that because I had different schools, but I've always had UCO in the back of my mind. It was a good school. It had the degree plan that I wanted. It was close to home. A great program, and I just felt like with UCO, I was close to family. I have my support system here, and they have a good nursing program. That's my major, and that's what kind of resonated with me the most.
And then you redshirted your first year on campus. Now I imagine that had to been kind of a tough experience going from in high school you're playing almost every snap. Now you're not playing at all. So what was that experience like, and what were you able to take away from that?
It definitely humbled me. It was very humbling, and once I got to college at UCO, I realized that competition is a lot more of it. Yeah, I was the star in high school, but everybody in college was the star of their high school as well. So I definitely had to up my game, and humble myself and be able to develop a much harder work ethic just to be able to, be the star here in college as well. And that's kind of the goal.
And there at time, if I believe you were also transitioning from safety to linebacker. What is the key differences between the two, and what was that transition like for you?
I wouldn't have to say with safety. Definitely the footwork was a lot different. You are doing a lot more backpedaling. You're more reactive to the ball, and with linebacker, it's more so reading, and you're more lateral than back and forth. The transition, it wasn't a very hard transition, because it just, I don't know, just one of those things that it was easy to adapt to. And I feel like with linebacker, you got to be more physical. You got to be more aware, because you got 300-pound linemen coming and trying to stop you. Whereas you're at safety, where you got guys that are a lot faster that are coming at you. So it's basically dealing with more speed versus more power. So yes, sir. That's probably the difference between the two of those.
And you were able to learn in 2018 from a very good group of linebackers, Colton Lindsay, Chris Pogai, Alex Figueroa, Langston Underwood. What were you able to take away from your time with those guys?
I looked up to them a lot. They were, not only were they really good players, but they were great teammates. They were supportive. Whenever I needed help with something, they were there to explain it. They knew what they were doing. They were good at it. So I had a great example to develop towards. And I think my favorite thing about those guys is just, because as a freshman, I was kind of, I was in my shell a little bit. I was uncomfortable. I didn't know everybody, but being around them, they really made the process just that much better because they were welcoming and they were just so informative and they just were supportive. And I inspired to have a group of guys like that, where I can be like that for somebody else coming into the school as well.
So 2019 comes, you see some action. So what was that first college game like for you?
It was exciting, especially coming off of that redshirt year. I was finally able to get back on the field, and there was a little bit of pressure, because I definitely didn't want to. I wanted to keep where I was, being able to play and not, make any regressive steps and make more progressive steps towards, becoming a better player. And then it was very exciting because, I was like, man, what a blessing it is to not only be able to play high school ball, but actually be active in college ball. So, I'm very thankful for that.
And then in the Lincoln game, you had a pick six, 55 yards. Just walk me through that play.
Oh yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. We were lined up. I had the field hash. I think it was a field hash, and I took my drop, and I saw it. I was just like, it's coming right here. I just had that feeling it was coming right there. So I broke on it, and it was just right there. And all I knew was just go, just run. And I kind of blacked out from there. All I know is just, we were in the end zone, just having a good old time because that was a big moment for me, and basically really a big moment for all of us because it was just, a really good play.
And then you were able to get a start in what was that? I mean, I had to be a kind of like a watershed moment. You're finally starting in that moment. What were you kind of feeling? What was your emotions like?
I just felt, I felt really just, I was honored really, because I was a sophomore, but I earned a starting spot, and also just a little bit of pressure, because I am still a young guy, but I wanted to keep that position, I wanted to keep starting and just like hold myself up to that standard, and I just only wanted to get better, I didn't really do a whole lot of thinking about the position itself. It's just a matter of how can I get better from this point on,
And then at some point after game 5, you have the shoulder injury. Just what now? I imagine like what was that experience like? Because here you were, you worked your way up, you were starting, you have momentum, and then that happens, and your season is done. So at that point, what was kind of your mindset like?
At first it was heartbreaking, because you do the work, you finally earn what you've been working for, and then soon after, you have a season-ending injury. Going into it, I knew that I was able to come back from it. It's going to take some work, but I'll be able to return to where I was. But I just knew that I just need to be patient. I don't need to be hard on myself. There's, it's just sometimes whenever you go hard, sometimes you get injured. But it was also that was humbling as well, because it really turned my mindset around to where not only do I want to get better in the game, but I also need to get better at taking care of my body, because that injury, it did not feel good at all. And I don't ever want to feel that again. But just basically just take care of myself a lot better, and it challenged me. It humbled me, and I learned a lot from it, and I grew a lot from it. And I'm, this is where I am today, and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, you knew at the time it was going to take a lot of hard work. So what kind of was that rehab process like to get back on the field?
Basically just a lot of stretching, coming out of the procedure, my shoulder, it was, I could have only raised it just a little bit, and it was more so just stretching that scar tissue, getting it to get to full range. That within itself was pretty painful. It wasn't so much of it wasn't strenuous work, but it was more so it was painful, because you got to get that scar tissue to go out again, and yeah, it definitely challenged me mentally, with the mental toughness aspect of it, because this was like months of the stretching, and like the stretching, you would get to one degree of the movement, and say 2 weeks later you're only that much more higher, but it's progress, but it's little, so it's like step by step. You kind of have to just be patient with it.
And you said that you were able to learn a lot from that experience. So, like, looking back on it, what kind of is the most important thing that you took away from that?
Just being able to work through adversity. I learned that throughout me not being able to practice, and me, just healing, I learned how to be a more supportive teammate. I learned how to be a better teammate, because at first, that's all I was thinking about. I was like, my shoulder. But then, actually, Brian Burns, he really changed my mindset about it, early after the injury. He was like, you may not be on the field right now, but this is a great opportunity for you to be a better teammate. Support your teammates more, be there, be more vocal in supporting them and their successes. And, that stuck with me ever since he told me that, and that's now continues to be in my mind, to be a good teammate, whether I'm doing good or I'm out, always support your team no matter what.
And so, 2020 happens. Now, as I imagine, you were excited. You were finally back healthy, way to get back on the field, and then your season gets canceled. Not only that, but other like D1s playing, or teams in the conference are playing like scrimmage games. Just talk about what that experience was like for you, and what you kind of took away from
that. It was a very odd experience, going that long without, competing in a game setting. It was just that whole season where we just practiced, and we just trained, and we just did work. And at times it felt like, it was doing work, but for what, like, there was no goal. It was just work. And that's fine. But usually you're just used to you have a goal, you have a team that you want to beat, or there's just something that you want to reach. But within that COVID year, it was just work, and so you just had to put your head down. And I saw it I just saw that, that experience tested a lot of guys' love for the game. We've had guys quit, we've had guys, almost quit, and it really tested your love for the game, because you're doing all this work, you're doing these practices and workouts, but there's no game involved, there's no competition, it's just work. And, it definitely tested the love for football, and I feel like I passed that. I'm still here, so yes, sir. I think that's probably the best I took from it, was just, it tested my love for the game, and I didn't fold.
And did you find that love might have been different than before you had that experience with 2020?
Maybe just a little bit, yeah. Because during that year 2020, it made me think, as like, yes, it's rough because you're not playing the game right now. It's just more. There was more reality checking. It's just like, are you really in this because you want to, or because you feel like you have to? And I wanted to, so I continued. I kept pushing. I kept working. I did whatever I needed to do to get through that COVID year. But before then, it was just more so of just, enjoying the game and loving the game, and loving the competition. But it's just that 1 year where it was all stripped away. That was kind of the biggest reality check for my experience.
And then 2021 happens. That week one game, the Missouri Western game, is a very exciting game. What was that experience like for you? Not only after missing a year, but for you coming back from injury. What was that experience like?
I went into that year coming from the injury and COVID year, knowing that I took everything from that, and I really wanted to focus on my technique, better technique, and um, you know, a lot more. I had a lot more appreciation for the competition because now that going from not having it to having it back again, it's just you're a lot more appreciative. You realize that just how great the game of football really is when you don't have it. And fortunately for me, I got to get a little taste of that experience, of not having football anymore, but being able to go back to football to where, maybe some people who love football and football's gone and football stays gone, and it just really humbled. It really, not really humbled, but it showed me, how much, how special the game really, really, I know the game's special, but it showed you just that much more, I don't know. It was an interesting year. But going from 2020, I think that, I've definitely become a lot more mature player, be able to view the game with a lot more appreciation, and went into that season, you know, with just a little bit of fire, because like it's just that tension builds up, and you're not in there and playing for a whole year, and then you're finally back, and you're just like, what, I just want to go, and just do my best.
And you mentioned the long layoff. So was there any kind of like rust you had to knock off early on?
Um, Maybe a little bit, yeah, because just the speed of the game, just going from the speed of practices and the speed of the game is different. It's kind of hard to put in words, but going from just practicing for a year and then going back into a game, you gotta get used to that speed of the game, because everybody's high energy and just ready to go. Um, but I knew that it wouldn't take long to adapt to. It's the game that you love, so it didn't take very long to adjust to.
And then you kind of had what you had. It's a disappointing season by most standards. There was some close games in there. Coach Bobek he steps down. Coach Doral comes in. What kind of was your first impression of Coach Doral when he first spoke to you all?
Um, First experience from Coach Doral, he just looked like a man with a mission. He looked like a guy that was ready to make a difference. And I don't remember exactly what he talked about, but I remember coming from that, the introductory meeting of meeting Coach Doral, where I was like, I really respect him. I like the way he, lays out his words. He knows what he's doing, and obviously, he's had a lot of success up at Northwest Missouri. So he has some backup to what he says, and he's very professional, and I was excited to see whether or not he was going to be our coach, and finding out he was going to be our coach. And I was excited, because I knew that this new coach coming into the program is a very good coach, and I'm ready to work with him next. I'm excited to work for him.
And that work began during the spring. So how would you say spring went for you personally?
Spring went really well. You know, um, Especially with coming off of that injury. I've kind of been off the radar for a little bit, but I was able to, show an entire new staff, what I'm available to do and what I provide on the field. And, I was able to express it. I was able to show them. And, they were able to see what I was missing, and I was able to, fix that and become better. Um, but that spring, I think that was a pretty good spring for me. I got to understand, because our defense that we run now, I understand it a lot better. It's a very good defense, and I like the style of it, and I just feel like I can work with that defense, and I've had practices where it showed. It was just very good practices, and the team by itself. We're becoming a lot more stronger, and where the communication is better, which allows us to play faster. And, just being able to play without doing too much thinking, it just makes the world's amount of difference. And I feel like that's another aspect that really helped me, perform as best as I could that spring.
And what has it been like working with Coach Lechtenberg and Coach Harwell in that linebacking unit?
They're great coaches. They they love what they do, and they're great at what they do. They not only are they great coaches, but they're great people. They connect with the players. They they spend time with you. If you have any extra questions, they'll sit down with you and they'll explain to you through and through. And it's just been a really great experience with Coach Harwell and Coach Leck, because they're professional about it. I think that's the number one thing that explains a lot of our coaches now, is just that they are professional about it, and they don't let too much emotion get in the way of what's going on. They hold their ground. They hold their I don't know. They just have a really good way of working with people, and it shows. And it makes the learning experience go that much smoother, and it just allows us to play that much faster.
No, you mentioned early on about learning from guys like Colton Lindsay and Figueroa and Pogai, and about how you kind of want to pay that forward. When I talked to your teammate, Johnny Marzell the fourth, he had a quote about that he's among that last of the dying breed, like you, Peyton, maybe Lane, Johnny, your teammate Jason Harris, Dylan Buckeye, right? Like there isn't too many old heads left, so. Do you feel like now you kind of have to kind of assume that leadership role, and is that something that you think will be a smooth transition for you?
So as an old guy, definitely, I feel like there isn't like an automatic duty to be the old guy, where he knows. Basically, that's actually a really good question. No, like you want to be, once you're one of those old heads, you want to, for the new guys coming in, you want to be able to know what you're doing, so you can explain to them. You can be a good example. You kind of have to up your game up a little bit, because there are guys that are looking up to you, maybe as a sophomore or junior, or there may be some people looking up to you, but as like an older guy, like doesn't have a lot more time left, like you have been in the program, you're a veteran, as more than others, and it's just like you kind of have to, you got to step up to the plate a little bit more.
And knowing that you don't have that much time left as an older guy, does that change your mindset? Does that change your approach to, like, I only have X amount of games left? Like, does that kind of weigh on you, or is that more of like motivation, thinking like I need to make the most out of these games that I have left?
Yeah, it's definitely motivating. I need to make the most out of these games, because I've had several men who have told me, once it's gone forever. Make the most out of it. I've heard that. I've been told that, countless amount of times, and I'm starting to see it. It's like, hey, the end of the road's, it's getting close. So you really got to make the most out of it, especially from coming off from a COVID year and a missed year from a shoulder injury. So.
What kind of do you feel like you need to work on the most the rest of the summer and heading into fall camp?
I'd probably have to say just gain some more weight, and leadership better, be more of a vocal leader, and I have gotten much better at that, but I want to continue to get better at being more vocal as a leader.
And you mentioned earlier you're a nursing major now. That can't be, that's not a easy major. So like how do you kind of balance the schoolwork and also like the football aspect of the practices, the meetings, the film? How do you kind of balance all that?
So I will create designated days strictly for homework and studying. Um, with my experience with my curriculum, with more of the science classes in the past, is where it's mostly just a lot of memory and application. So the studying does have to be very precise, and you have to have like you have to know what you're studying and why you're studying and what you need to know it for. So it was definitely some intensive studying, and I would just mostly the weekends were my, I would say Saturday and Sunday is kind of where I hit it hard and just touch back up on key concepts throughout the week. Because balancing 12 hours worth of classes with football, you kind of have to know where to put your pieces to be able to get yourself prepared for that next exam with in whatever given class that you're studying for. Um, so time management is definitely essential, because if you know you wander off or you procrastinate too much, you're going to find yourself struggling in a class, or you're going to bomb an exam, and that's not, especially as a nursing major where all of your curriculum has to be a C or above, and really a C doesn't look good either. But you just really got to be on top of your game with that.
And what made you decide to pursue nursing as your career?
Um, so going into college, I just did a lot of thinking about what I wanted to pursue for a career, and I thought about engineering, um, but just always growing up as a kid, I was always interested in the medical field. Initially, I wanted to be a surgeon, but I wanted to play. It's a very competitive field, and balancing it with football, it would have been very tough. So I wanted to play it safe, and I was like, you know what, nursing is a great way. And if I want to, advance in my practices from a nurse to maybe a CRNA or a nurse practitioner or even a surgeon, it's just there's more options to branch out with rather than just, well, I want to be a doctor. It's basically do or die. So um, I feel like it was just a lot more safer route, and it's still the medical field, and I could still be in the OR as like a an OR nurse. So I just feel like it was kind of just gives you the best of both worlds.
And I guess my final football related question for you to be what are your goals for this upcoming season?
National championship. Honestly, I want to win. I want to win, and with everything that we have now, with the new and updated stadium, the new coaching staff, the team looking, just the dynamics of the team being so much different. I just want to win games, and personally, for personal goals, I just, I definitely want to focus on being more physical. I want to focus on being um, more detailed on my technique, protecting myself and taking care of my body, eating right, getting enough sleep. Um, so I probably have to say it's those things, yeah.
Well, before I get you out of here, we do this with all the new guests, kind of get to know you type questions. So, your favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team, I have to say Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
I love
okay.
those guys.
Here now, your teammate Lane Grantham is the Eagles fan. So, like when Dallas wins against Philly, is there some trash talking there amongst the fellow Cowboys fans to Lane, or is it kind of just like understood that he probably saw what happened and we just gonna let it slide?
Well, I didn't know that Lane was an Eagles fan, so we'll have to see about that kind of in the near future.
Yeah, is this the year that Dallas finally wins a playoff game?
I love to see it. Yes, I want to have high hopes that happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Your favorite hobby outside of football?
Playing guitar. That's been a big thing for me lately. Actually, one of my old roommates from my freshman year, he was my teammate. Um, he had a guitar in his dorm, and just one day I was bored, didn't have anything to do, so I was like, "Hey man, mind if I kind of play around with your guitar?" I didn't know how to play the thing at all. I just kind of just liked the dynamic of it, how it felt in my hands, and then I searched up a little YouTube video and I learned it was Ho Hey by the Lumineers. And I learned that and kind of just fell in love with the thing. So I just kind of been getting better and better from that ever since that day.
Okay. Let's see. Your favorite musical artist?
Musical artist. Um, see, which I have different ones in different genres. I'd say more in hip hop. I would have to say J. Cole. He's an awesome. His lyrics are out of this world. Um, for more of a rock and roll, I love Van Halen. They're a great band. More of like I don't know how to call it, like an alternative, or I don't know. He's more of like a blues singer. His name's Foy Vance. Fantastic artist. Very talented guy.
Okay. Okay. Now, out of all the genres that you listen to, do you have a favorite song?
Uh, I would have to say, what song have I been listening to? "Make It Rain" by Foy Vance is pretty good. I just love the like the chords in it, and just the flow of the whole entire song. It's really bluesy. It's a beautiful song, really.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Your favorite food?
Favorite food? I would have to go with sushi. Sushi's pretty good.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Are you a gamer? Do you video game at all?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I play. Well, really only play Apex Legends with my buddies back from Enid. It's a very fun game. Like the competitiveness in it.
Now we we PlayStation, Xbox, or PC?
PlayStation.
Dang. So the only Xbox guys so far I talked to is Coach Curley and Coach Dor. Everybody else is Team PlayStation.
Oh, we gotta get to the dark side.
Oh man. Let's see. Okay. Hmm. Do you have any pregame routines that you normally do?
Yeah, so a lot of times, mostly in away games where the odds are mostly against us, I like to meditate right under the field post wherever our team goes. Yeah, I like to just do a couple of breathing exercises under the thing, close my eyes, and just kind of just focus on breathing and calming down, and just really slowing down my mind to where I can just pay attention to little detailed things rather than just having my mind go a million miles an hour. So I definitely like to meditate before the game.
Now in terms of gear, are you one of these just give me the helmet, the shoulder pads, let me go out there and play, or do you kind of like to be like Trayvon Craig and dress to the nines?
Um, Kind of like a mix between the two. Like I'm thankful for what I get, but I also know I'll find a way to make it look good. I remember that.
Okay, now you were here at a time where the white helmets was nothing more than a pipe dream. So I have to ask, as one of the old heads, when you got the news, you saw the white helmet, what was that reaction like?
It was exciting. It was like, wow, like we finally got some white helmets. It's and I always have like the dark navy helmets always have a special place in my heart. But once the white ones came out, it was just like it was kind of a game changer, because I'm a firm believer of look good, play good. But yeah, it was just exciting, because it was just like it's just I don't know, kind of like Christmas a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, Peyton's kind of on the fence of, kind of wanting to rotate some this year because you wore the whites the whole year. I'm thinking he's kind of hoping we get some all blues again. Now, do you have any preference on which helmet is worn, or doesn't really matter to you?
I think I'm more on Peyton's side of this one. I think I would like to see some rotation. Just add some some variety. And but ultimately, I don't mind because I love the blues and I love the whites, and but yeah, I think the transition between the two would kind of add some more spice for the image.
Now, I was told off by Peyton you guys wore yellow pants once. Now, do you miss the yellow pants, or are you cool with just the blue and the white pants?
Um, yeah, I'm content with the blue and the white, but the yellow, I like the yellows. It just adds that a contrast a little bit. The bright yellow. I don't know. It's like it's an electric color. And I personally I like the color of yellow. I definitely would like to see them worn a little bit more.
Okay. I guess my final question for you to be, for those who might still be on the fence about coming to give you all a shot this year, what would you say to those people about what they can expect if they were to come see you all play?
Um, they could definitely they'll be able to see a much different, team dynamic. We're a lot louder. We're a lot more vocal and communicate. We're a lot better. We're more on the same page about things, and I feel like a lot more guys are a lot more invested, because this summer is the most that we've had the most people we've had that I've seen since I've been here. We've had generally the whole entire team here in the summer, and that alone shows me that we're moving in the right direction. And personally, I'm very happy to see that. I'm very excited. Got a lot of talent, a lot of young guys coming in that they look really good. Yeah. And just we would love to see it all. We love our fans. We would like to see a lot more support from our fans, and hopefully with the new and updated field, it's a much better environment to be in. But no, I'm more so excited for them to see the progress that we've made, and how much that we've grown as a team.
Well, Marlo, I appreciate you taking time to come on and talk to me. I'm wishing you the best of luck the rest of summer and into next season. And anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome to.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you, Marlo.